Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekly webinar. It's 2 o'clock on Thursday, February 2nd. So we will go ahead and get started. I'm Kelly G. Loeb. I'm your host for the webinar. Thank you so much for being here. And we are excited to have Rachel Sandoval give our presentation. I'll tell you a little bit about her in just a moment. But before that, a few housekeeping notes. Of course, we'll ask everyone to stay on mute unless you have a question. And please use the chat function to type your questions in, and we'll get to those before we're finished. And Rachel will be able to answer your questions. The recording will be available within 24 hours. So if you enjoy it so much, and I'm sure you will, that you want to watch it again, it will be there tomorrow. Or if you want to tell your friends and your family, please feel free to do that. And with that, I will go ahead and introduce Rachel, and we will get started. So Rachel Sandoval is a registered dietitian and program manager for our LEAP Lifestyle Empowerment for Alzheimer's Prevention program. And today she is going to introduce 6 primary strategies for reducing Alzheimer's risk and provide some practical steps that you can take today to improve your brain health. So I know I'm very excited to hear what Rachel has to say. So with that, Rachel, I will turn it over to you. You are already screen sharing, so you are on the ball. Go for it, and let's hear what you have to say.
All right, thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. Welcome. So today we're going to be talking about 6 simple strategies for long-term brain health. And you may have seen me before, you may have seen the LEAP program before, but today I'm just going to give you a little bit of background on the Alzheimer's Center in case you're new here, talk about some Alzheimer's prevention strategies, and give you some more information on how you can learn more, because we are going to go fast. We're going to just touch on these 6 key strategies, and we have some resources to help you go way deeper on these topics. So I want to get you connected with those resources. First, just a little bit of background. We are the KU Alzheimer's Disease Research Center, and we're one of 33 NIH-accredited Alzheimer's disease research centers in the nation. And our mission is to improve the lives of patients and families with Alzheimer's by eliminating the disease through its treatment and prevention. And this program that I'm going to tell you about today is part of that mission. We do a lot of research here. In addition to our webinars and our outreach programs, of course, we have a lot of different studies. We do research for people both with and without cognitive impairment. So there's really something available for almost everyone. We have discovery and innovation studies. We look at medications. We look at lifestyle, psychosocial interventions. So lots and lots of different ways to get involved. If you're curious about research, please let us know. We're happy to help you and get you connected with more information. We also have our LEAP program, which is a program that I run, and that stands for Lifestyle Empowerment for Alzheimer's Prevention, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. Other resources we have include My Alliance, which is part of the webinar you're watching right now. We have our support groups, we have Brain Health Navigator, we have lots of different resources. So just a little bit of background. One of the most common questions that we get is, what is dementia? And so I wanted to start with that before we dive into Alzheimer's prevention strategies. Dementia is an umbrella term that describes many different conditions that cause changes in memory and thinking. There are actually many different types of dementia. There are many different health conditions that can cause the symptoms of dementia. And so Alzheimer's is the most common type, and it accounts for about 60 to 80% of dementia cases. And so that is our focus today, is how we can reduce our risk or slow cognitive decline for Alzheimer's disease. We've made a lot of progress in the last many years in Alzheimer's research, and one of the things we can do now that we probably couldn't say several decades ago is that we can diagnose it accurately and early. Our diagnosis has gotten much better, and it's continually improving. We're exploring new biomarkers and so many different ways to diagnose earlier. We have helpful treatments, but we don't have a cure. So we're, of course, always working to find a cure. And we have lifestyle changes that can reduce risk and slow decline. Our goal would be to be able to diagnose before the onset of symptoms, to halt and reverse the disease process, aka cure it, and to completely prevent or delay onset of Alzheimer's. And this is really big deal because someone is diagnosed with Alzheimer's every 65 seconds. So this is what we're working toward. But today we're going to talk about the lifestyle changes that you can make to improve your brain health. Some common medical risk factors for Alzheimer's include depression and anxiety, traumatic brain injury, high blood pressure, heart disease, sleep apnea, diabetes. The good thing about most of these is that these are conditions that we can work together with our healthcare providers to manage well, and we can reduce the impact that these things have on our long-term brain health by managing them well. And sometimes that means medication, sometimes that means lifestyle changes. So there are lots of different ways that we can improve these health conditions to reduce our risk. The LEAP program is designed to translate all of the research that we do here at our center and at other centers around the world into everyday strategies that are evidence-based that you can use in everyday life to reduce your risk. And we have a few different ways that we do that. So we have interactive online education that includes our brain health bootcamp classes and our Mediterranean diet course. And we just wrapped up our Mediterranean diet course, and we have a brain health bootcamp starting in a couple of weeks, and I'll give you more information on those. We also have our LEAP Brain Power Blueprint, which is a book that goes into a lot more depth on all of the topics we're going to cover today. So lots of great resources for you to help you on your brain health journey. Okay, so our 6 goals for Alzheimer's prevention. Number 1, we want to move more. Number 2, we want to get fit. Number 3, eat healthy. 4, sleep well. 5, stay connected. And 6, manage stress. And of course, all of these things are easier said than done, which is why we have programs designed to help you actually implement all of these things in your everyday life in an evidence-based way that can improve your brain health. So let's cover these a little bit more. Number 1, move more. This is talking about physical activity or reducing our sedentary time. And that's actually different from exercise. We'll cover exercise on the next slide. But physical activity means getting more general movement throughout the day. So I am currently sitting in a chair talking to you all right now. I am not getting physical activity. When I get up and go get a snack, get my drink, walk around the house a little bit, step outside, that would be physical activity. And our goal is really to reduce and break up sedentary time. Studies have shown many, many health risks associated with prolonged sedentary time, which is getting easier and easier the more we're attached to our computers and our TVs and our phones. Our lives just tend to be getting more and more sedentary. And so we want to get up and move around more. And a good rule of thumb is to aim to get light intensity physical activity every 20 to 30 minutes of sitting. And that takes being really intentional. So one way that you can make that easier would be to set an alarm. You could use a kitchen timer or an alarm on your phone, something to remind you to get up and move every 30 minutes. And if that feels like a lot, start with an hour. But our goal is to move for 1 to 2 minutes, light intensity, walk around a little bit every 20 to 30 minutes to minimize the impacts of being seated. Okay, number 2, get fit. This is talking about exercise, which is different from physical activity. And exercise is structured movement that is specifically for the purpose of improving fitness. So think your aerobic exercise, your strength training, stretching, balance and core stability exercises. So anything that you're doing specifically to improve your fitness. And there's a little bit of overlap between physical activity and exercise, but exercise typically is your workout. It's something that you specifically do, at a specific day and time. Studies show the strongest link between aerobic exercise and brain health. There seems to be a much more direct link. We see improvements in cognition with aerobic exercise. However, the other types of exercise, strength training, balance, flexibility, those are all very important too for a variety of reasons. And we get into this in much more depth in our brain health bootcamp course, but we want to have a well-rounded exercise routine that includes all 4 of these components. First thing to focus on though would be getting your 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity aerobic exercise. And we want to start gradually. If you're not exercising at all, 10 minutes a week is great. If you're only exercising 1 day a week, great, make it 2 days a week. So just gradual changes are a good place to start. We also want to aim for 2 to 3 days per week of strength training. We want to make sure we get daily balance and flexibility exercises. A simple change that you could start with today would be to take a short brisk walk. If you're in Kansas City, it's finally above freezing. So hopefully this afternoon would be a good time to get a quick walk in and get that blood flowing. All right, number 3, we want to eat healthy. The Mediterranean diet is linked with decreased risk of Alzheimer's disease and slowed cognitive decline. And this is the eating pattern that we teach as part of the LEAP program. We have an entire course on the Mediterranean diet. We also include it in Brain Health Bootcamp. And it is one of the most well-studied eating patterns out there. Many different health benefits. In general, it's a very whole foods focused eating pattern, lots of vegetables and fruits, lots of whole grains, healthy fats, lean protein, low fat dairy. We're limiting processed food and sugar, but that doesn't mean we're avoiding those things completely. Our goal is to have a balanced Mediterranean style diet that is nutrient dense, low glycemic, and rich in healthy fats. And those are the 3 key components of a brain healthy diet that we cover in depth in the Mediterranean diet course. Simple change you could make today would be to add a brain superfood to your food today or tomorrow, something like blueberries, kale, onions, salmon, or extra virgin olive oil. All of those foods have specifically neuroprotective compounds that are really great for our brains and great to add into our diet. All right, number 4 is sleep well. This is one that's definitely easier said than done. Sleep can be really elusive, but it is absolutely critical for brain health and our overall health, of course. There are many different things that we can do to improve our sleep quality, and sleep is kind of unique in that the changes that we can make to improve quality might seem small, but sleep is very delicate and it can improve dramatically with relatively small changes. And so we spend a lot of time talking about sleep hygiene, and that's the habits and practices and environment changes that we can make to improve our sleep quality. In general, we want to do things that help support a good circadian rhythm. So consistent sleeping, waking, eating, and relaxing routines. We want to make sure we have adequate wind down time in the evening. Our sleep environment can have a big effect on our sleep quality. And our light exposure, both bright daytime light, making sure that we're getting that in early in the day, and then minimizing our light exposure, particularly blue light in the evening. And that can have a surprisingly big effect on our sleep health. And there's a lot more to this. It's a lot more complicated than this, but those are some things that you can tweak to help with your sleep quality. One simple change that you could make today would be to avoid screens and dim your lights 30 minutes before bed. Ideally, 1 to 2 or even 3 hours before bed, but that's often not realistic. And so many people can get benefit from just 30 minutes before bed. All right, number 5, stay connected. So social and cognitive engagement are associated with better overall health and reduced cognitive decline. The research on these two topics is not as robust as it is in some of the other topics like healthy eating and exercise and sleep. We have lots and lots and lots of research on those topics. There is good research on social connection and cognitive engagement, but it doesn't give us quite the specifics that we would hope for. I would love to be able to tell you, you need to have exactly 3 friends and you won't get Alzheimer's, or you need to go to exactly 2 social, events a week and that will protect your brain health. But unfortunately, it's not quite that simple. So what we can focus on is avoiding social isolation and making sure that we are cultivating meaningful relationships, meaningful engagement in our community. Whatever that looks like to you, it's going to vary from person to person. And now we want to make sure that our mind is challenged regularly. And again, that's going to look different from person to person. What challenges one person may not be very challenging for another person. In general, brain games are not a great place to start. We want to start with everyday life skills and learning new hobbies, learning new skills, things that can challenge us in real life. So simple changes you could make today. 1, schedule a coffee date with a friend to get connected, and 2, get started on your taxes if you haven't already, because that is definitely mentally challenging for most of us. It is for me at least. But again, real life situations are a better way to get that mental stimulation than things like crosswords. Okay, stress and mental health, number 6. Chronic stress, depression, and anxiety increase our risk of cognitive decline. So we really want to prioritize our mental health and prioritize our stress management and building stress resilience. Chronic stress has such a profound impact on our health in so many different ways, not just our brain health, but all aspects of our physical health can be influenced by our mental stress. And so we want to make sure that we're really making it a priority to protect our mental health. Things that can help us to cultivate stress resilience are regular exercise, meditation, time in nature. And then if you struggle with stress, anxiety, depression, any aspect of your mental health, therapy is another really important tool to use. A simple change that you could make today would be trying a simple deep breathing exercise or guided meditation. Again, our goal is to build stress resilience, not just deal with stress in the moment. So lots of different tools that we have to work on that, but deep breathing can be a helpful one. Okay, so that's a very quick overview of our 6 key healthy lifestyle goals for improving our brain health. We go into these in a lot more depth in Brain Health Bootcamp, and we would love to see you there. It's completely free. It's a 6-week online course. We have videos, worksheets, dozens of resources, goal setting support. It's very interactive. So we have weekly Zoom calls where we go over the material and then have extended question and answer time, as well as goal setting time and personal application time. So we all know we need to eat healthy. We all know we need to exercise. We all know we need to sleep. But it's really, what is the most evidence-based way to accomplish those things, and how can I apply these things to my everyday life in an effective way? Those are the things that we really dig into in Brain Health Bootcamp. So we would love to see you there. The next class begins February 13th, and you can find out more information and get signed up by going to kubrainhealth.org/week. We also have our Mediterranean diet class. We just wrapped one up, but there will be another one starting in about a month and a half on March 23rd. And this one is 4 weeks long instead of 6 weeks, goes into a lot of depth on healthy eating, Mediterranean diet. And this one's a really fun one. So we would love to see you there as well. Okay, I think we've got 10 minutes for questions. Again, kubrainhealth.org/leap if you would like to sign up. If you have any questions about any of our LEAP courses or anything that I talked about today, you can also email us at kuadrcleap@kumc.edu. Okay, I'm going to leave that screen up for a minute so people can write down the website if they need to and go ahead and look at the chat.
Thank you so much, Rachel. There are a couple of really great questions in the chat. So if you wouldn't mind, I don't know if you can see it.
Yes, I just
okay.
Okay, how many servings of salmon should I have each week? We want to aim for at least 2 servings of fatty fish or fish that contain omega-3. So salmon would be a good example. Sardines are another good example. Rainbow trout, Atlantic mackerel, oysters, any seafood that is a good source of omega-3s. We want to aim for at least twice a week. How many steps per day are appropriate for a 75-year-old woman? That depends on where your fitness level currently is and how many steps you currently get. So in general, we don't want to go from 0 to 60 or steps. We wouldn't want to go from 500 to 10,000 overnight. That's going to cause a lot of issues. So gradual changes. The rule of thumb goal for an active person is 10,000 steps a day. There have been some recommendations that it should be lower for older adults. I think 8,000. However, it's really based on where you're starting. So depending on your current fitness level, I would look at your current steps if you have a way to measure those, and then gradually increase. It could be 500 steps every couple of days that you add on and keep gradually working towards that. And more importantly, breaking up that sedentary time and trying to move more throughout the day, even if you don't have a way to count your steps. And Tina posted the contact info. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? I think I got through all the questions in the chat.
Yeah, I think so. Rachel, that was great. If anybody doesn't have dinner plans for tonight, I suppose you have some inspiration for today. And if you need some more, the Mediterranean class is coming up, the brain boot camp. So lots of ways to get more great information from the experts here at the KU ADRC. So thank you very much. Rachel, do you have the exit slide on your screen? Or if not,
I do not, but I can stop sharing.
You stop, then I will put that up for some last minute information that folks may want to note before we wrap up for today. Thank you, Dr. Lewandowski, always on time with the slides. So take note of what is on your screen now. Imagine what we can do together. And that's one of the great goals of the ADRC, is for all of us to work together in our communities to improve access to research and clinical trials and get us that much closer to prevention and cure for Alzheimer's disease. And so listed on our screen are some ways you can do that: by participating in a study, by spreading the word. You are already all of our, we're sort of preaching to the choir here, because lots of you sign on every Thursday and watch the webinar, and you get the weekly email on Mondays. So if this is your first time here and you're wondering, how do I get this great information? These are some ways to do that. And then, of course, we also will always mention that sustainable giving is a thing we are always quite appreciative of, so that we can continue to spread the word about our programs and services. So once we're wrapped up for today, if you have any questions, feel free to send us an email at myalliance@kumc.edu. We will be back here next Thursday, February 9th already, at 2 o'clock Central Time, with another great topic about Alzheimer's disease and research. You'll get a reminder email on Thursday morning and another email on Monday. Lots of emails, lots of information, and we're so happy to be in touch with you. we have a few minutes left, so if you have any more questions, I'm going to take the liberty of saying Rachel might be available for 1 or 2 more questions. Otherwise, take advantage of that bright sunshine outside if you're in a place where that's accessible, and have a great rest of your day. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. We'll go ahead and finish up for today. Again, have an excellent afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Rachel.
Yes, thank you, Rachel.